It's between 40 kilometers squared and 50 kilometers squared, according to estimates. And so that slice, that almost like a pizza slice of the mountain that belongs to Guyana, is relatively uncharted and unknown. And so I wanted to go to that piece of the mountain which belongs to Guyana and actually find in that piece where the tallest point is, where no one has actually documented or actually done any investigation. So I brought 3 different instruments with me. I brought my GPS watch, my GPS phone, and also a barometer which measures air pressure and therefore gives you the altitude. And our first objective was to actually see which point of Guyana looks the tallest. Once we established, using videos and just looking with our eyes, which of the rock structures looked the tallest, the next mission was to go and climb it. So with a drone on a particular rock structure, we looked for the best route of access. So we reconnaissanced the route and then went and climbed it with climbing equipment and gear. Then, once we were on the tall point and we could see we were on the tall point of the mountain, which has a view over the top of everything, well, I wanted to make sure and I wanted to test to ensure that it was indeed the tallest point. And the way I did that is I had a drone and I flew the drone to some other peaks which looked like they might compete with a similar altitude to this point that we had climbed. And using the barometer of the drone, which is relatively precise, we could see if there was a difference in altitude. I would fly the drone at the same altitude to a different peak, and I would see if there was a difference between the altitude between the drone and this peak and the altitude between where we were on our point, all at the same altitude. Other than just seeing that we're clearly taller. So I wanted to be extra sure, and so I used the drone, but we could already see we were on the tallest point of the labyrinth, right? It's been exceptionally interesting so far, and I think it will make some nice viewing. I mean, I've had a very interesting personal journey. I was a medical student and I was expelled from medical school, and I was really lost in life and very down. And this goal of climbing the 12 mountains of South America was a dream that I had from over 10 years ago. And as the years have gone by, no one has actually completed this challenge, and I used it as an objective, as an aim, and it's really kept my head above water and given me something to do every day with my life. And so still, years later, no one had achieved this challenge, and I decided I must try with all of my power to try and do this adventure and do this challenge. And so I've documented so far everything on my cameras, and I would like to make a documentary about this challenge, about the 12 mountains. There's nothing like Mount Roraima anywhere in the world. The top of the mountain is all sorts of crazy shapes and faces and creatures carved into the rocks, and I think, if I'm not wrong, it's something like the top of the Roraima has been exposed to 500 million years of erosion. So there's all these unbelievable shapes on top of the mountain and all of these crazy canyons and valleys. And so just being on top of Roraima is a unique experience. Just looking at Mount Roraima is a unique experience. There's no other mountains like it anywhere in the world. So it's a very special moment to actually find the tallest point on Mount Roraima and the tallest point of Guyana.